All right, so this week we are kicking off. I'm super excited. Procrastination week, and actually, I've trained. I've trained on this already today, and I've like recorded all the videos for TikTok and stuff on procrastination. And I just love this topic because it's something that I've stuck with for a long time. It took me a long time to get out of procrastination and to recognize and realize what everything was about and what it was making me do, basically, and healing these issues, right? Because those are issues that are taking us from living the life that we really want to like keeping us stuck, right? We are stuck. So one of the things is, one of my mentors ever asked me, how do you want to be seen at your funeral? Who do you want to show up for your funeral? And first I was taken aback by this question. I was like, why would I think about my funeral? Why would I think that, like who's going to show up? I've never had thought about it. And after then I realized, oh, maybe nobody will show up for my funeral. And then I started crying, and then the floodgates was going on, and I was just like feeling miserable about the thing. Like, I don't know if my kids would really be happy. I mean, not happy to show up, obviously, right? They would but maybe my kids would have not been impacted to the life that I wanted them to be impacted. Maybe my friends wouldn't even care if I'm there anymore. Maybe nobody would care if I'm going to be there or not. Maybe I would have like two people, right? And I started realizing there was this one guy who died at work years back, and he had everyone and his mother showing up to his funeral. I mean, I thought this was a party. Like this funeral home, you couldn't get parking. This is how many people were showing up over there. And he had, I don't know what he was dying of anymore. It was like some kind of, I don't think it was cancer, it was something else. But so what happened, I thought, and I clearly remember this to this day, I thought to myself, like, wow, he really must have impacted a lot of lives for them to honor and respect him and show up here for him now that he's gone. That is what I want, right? And when I realized that, I thought to myself in that moment when my mentor had asked me about my funeral, I thought to myself, like, how do I live my life? Do I live my life according to giving enough value to people? And when we talk about giving value to people all the time, and sometimes we can think to ourselves, what does it even mean? What does this value mean, right? The value we're giving. And the value can be different for every single person. It can be different for you. It can be different for them. It can be different for everyone. But it consists out of what are our core beliefs and our values. And last month in January, we've kind of gotten clear on what we believe, what we wanted to grow in. Laura said she wanted to grow in more in her faith and, reading more about the Bible. I do too. And the drive of working on our Christianity and our spirituality is also coming from what makes sense in life, right? What have we been giving? Like what are we supposed to do here? It's like this quest of trying to figure out this purpose, the value that we're supposed to give. Now, when you reflect on your day-to-day life, when you reflect on everything that you're doing in a day, do you think that the people around you are going to miss you a lot? And do you think that you are going to make the impact that you are craving to do? That's something to think about. What are your actions look like towards your goals that you have set? Are you actually doing that, or are you procrastinating? And now we are going into this phase of really talking about it. Today, we are talking about identification of our procrastination triggers, right? We're going over all the triggers today, and then you can figure out what it is that you're doing most for you, because we have all of them. Most often we have one, two, or three. And my trigger actually surprised me, and I'm going to tell you this when we get there, because that was one big one. For years I had no clue, and I figured it out, and it's amazing. Because once you figured out what you're doing and how you're doing it, you are able to break through and walk free, right? Of whatever it is that was holding you back there. So this week we are identifying the triggers. Next week we are breaking goals into the manageable tasks, right? So once we know what our triggers are, we can apply it into our life. That's what we're going to talk about next week, and how we can actually apply and overcome those triggers. Then we're going to talk about Pomodoro technique to focus. And then we're going to cultivate a mindset, a procrastination mindset that really like knocks that out of the park. So this is all in February this week. Okay, so on to the procrastination triggers. First one is lack of clarity. Always the first one. If you don't know what exactly you want to do, you are not going to do anything. That was something that I've dealt with a long time without even knowing. And I'm sure that is something that you are dealing with as well. We have so many different areas that we want to build and make progress in and do things with. It's our work. It's our health and wellness. It's our relationships. It's our children, our parenting. It's our extracurricular activities, right? Like church or volunteering or hobbies, whatever else you are doing. Like there's all these different areas. And we can do everything. We just cannot do everything at the same time. Okay. So you need to rank these in order somehow. Okay. That's why I'm talking about priorities. You always have to have priorities. When you have all these goals, because you can't say, oh, I'm only going to work on focus on my health and wellness. And I'm sorry, kids, you're going to have to feed yourself. Right? that doesn't work. You have to sometimes mix everything together. You cannot say, oh, I'm just going to do my focus on my fun thing here and work. Sorry, that just doesn't work, right? That's when, we get all stressed out because we have all these responsibilities, but we don't, and we want to make progress, but we don't see progress. It's because we're not clear on the priorities that we need to set. Okay. So what does that mean? When you have your different areas of life and you have your different goals in there, you need to rank them based on priorities. So my 3 priorities in life is my children, my job, and my health and wellness. These 3 things are how I did it. Now, that was not really successful because my children are, I love them to death, but they are ever wanting to have all the attention from mom, all the things. So they want to like always be there. And that's fine, but it prevents me from doing the work that I need to be doing, right? Everyone has a job, right? You need to earn money to pay for your house and your electricity and your things. You have to show up for your work. And then you have to have health and wellness. And guess what? Without health and wellness, you have nothing. You cannot take care of your children. You cannot take care of your job. You can't have. So my priorities were somewhat commingled. Okay. You have to reflect on that for yourself as you're hearing that. So what I then did to fix it is I explained to my children that yes, they are my number 1 priority, but in order for them to be my number 1 priority, I have to take care of my health and wellness first. What does it exactly look like, right? We're talking about lack of clarity. What does it exactly look like on the good day and on the bad day? Because we cannot always have good days. We just don't. It's just not happening. We cannot always have a blitz day. Sometimes we have sometimes we have a minimum day. Okay. And sometimes we have a standard day. What does the minimum activity in your priority health and wellness look like? What is the minimum priority in your other priorities look like? Okay. Really get clear on that. Become your word to yourself. It's a core value of integrity to yourself. You say something, you have to follow through. See, when you do, your brain is going to start realizing, I'm winning. Look at how many minimum days I'm doing. Like, look at how amazing I am. Like I can do this. And you build confidence through this. Okay. But if you are not doing that, if you are not building the confidence through repetition of being your word, that's when you lack, because you're not clear on what does a minimum look like. You lose that day. If you don't know that a minimum would be take your supplements and drink your water, okay? That could be like literally, that could be your minimum. And if you don't do your minimum, you're basically telling your brain, like, I'm not worth it. Right? So you decide what are your priorities. So now I talked to my kids and I said, health and wellness has to be my first. I have to get sleep. I like that's one of the biggest issues for me is sleep. I need to be able to sleep. I am showing up as the worst monster ever if I don't get sleep. And I'm not ashamed to admit to this. I yell and I scream and I'm just nasty when I'm not sleeping. I need to sleep. And if I want to care for my children, which they are the most precious thing ever, I have to make sure I get sleep. I have to make sure I set the boundaries and say, no, I'm sorry. You need to sleep in your own bed. I need to get sleep tonight. No, you need to be in bed by 8. I need to get sleep tonight because I love you and I want to be there for your priorities, right? Communicate this. Then the second thing, so health and wellness has become my first. I had to get clear on it. What do you need to get clear on? Second is business. Okay. I had to get clear on business is my second priority over my children. Whew, that was a big one to swallow because when you think about it, you're like, how do you put your work over your children? Yeah. When society always says you should have your children, like especially for mothers, kids come first. But think about it this way. If you don't have money, how are you going to support your children? Where are you going to live? What opportunities are you going to give to them? Sports are expensive. Travel teams are very expensive. Those opportunities, and I've had conversations up and down on this. They don't need to do that. I've been hearing, yes, they do, because you need quality coaching, right? In my opinion, that is for me. You need quality coaching at some point, and you need to also give them opportunity. If they are not an athlete, okay, then they're not an athlete. If they don't want to do it, no, then do something else. Have quality piano teachers or something. But you've got to expose them somehow to something that they're good at, because that way they are going to have opportunities later on. So in my value system, yes, money matters. How I live matters, right? How much I can experience with them while traveling matters. Every single experience they're having, brain cells are being formed. To me, that's valuable. It may not be valuable to you. You have to decide for yourself, right? So I'm not saying this that you need to do the exact same thing that I do. You have to figure it out to yourself, but you've got to get clear because so much time is being wasted procrastinating because we are not doing anything. So if you're not clear on what your priorities are, you're just going to waste the day and the day and the day and the day and the day. And then the month is gone and then the year's gone. And next thing you know, your kids are all grown up. And what memories do they have? And you're going to sit there and think like, yeah, but I didn't have time. And then come the excuses. When the excuses are just to minimize your shame. And I'm sorry, I know what I say stings and it's like really hard to hear sometimes. And please don't take it as an attack. It's meant in love. Okay, but it's the truth. The regrets are being formed by us giving into procrastination, by us giving into like the mass, what everyone else does. Okay, social media, what we're using for numbing behaviors, are there to keep you buying from the people who are selling. Let's not get unclear about this. It's a behavioral tool that moves people's behaviors to buying. If you're looking for if you're mentioning a pink water bottle, trust me, Facebook will give you ads to pink water bottles really quickly. If you are just thinking handbags, out of the sudden you're going to have a gazillion handbags showing up for you. Come on, you know that's true. It's a bazillion. It's if you Google something, oops, over here it is, right? I mean, it just shows up. It's what it does. Yet look what we do. We take our time and we sit on social media, letting someone else control the outcome of our lives. Come on. And we call that procrastination. Okay? It's the truth. I'm sorry it hurts, but we need to know this. We need to get clear. What do we want for our life? What do we want in our funeral? When we are on our deathbed, in hospice, what do you want your thoughts to be like? What do you want your memory to be like? What action should be there? Who should be there? You need to ask yourself those questions because the action need to be taken now. Okay? If you want to have a lot of people showing up for you and missing you because you matter to them, right? Because that's what it's for me. I just want to matter to people. Like, it doesn't mean how many, it doesn't matter how many. I just want to matter to people. I just want people to say, you know what? I really enjoyed her company, or I really think she really helped me. Like, I want to matter. That's at the core of everything I do. I just want to matter to people. Whatever it is for you, okay? You need to figure that out. So, lack of clarity. What else is a trigger for procrastination? Fear of failure. That darn nervous system of ours that we love so much, right? We love it because it actually keeps us safe. The problem is that it cannot distinguish between saber-toothed tigers and irrational fears, such as showing up on social media. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. So yeah, so fear of failure, right? Not meeting the expectations of whatever tasks, you know. I think to a degree, fear of failure is really necessary because it keeps you on toe. Okay. So for example, in my full-time other job now, I ended up quoting on a huge 200-ton piece that needs to be moved in with a crane. And, you know, like I'm quoting on this, and I have heart racing emotions doing that because I'm thinking, what if I do something wrong? What if I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars that are going into moving this big project piece, right? And I am having fear of failure. I am having heart racing fear that I'm missing out something and that my company is going to be out multiple thousands of dollars if I made a mistake. Okay. Or I miscalculate something, the crane has it has a different capacity and weight and is going to crack under this weight and it's going to kill somebody as this thing comes crashing down on the pier, right? I mean, just think about this. Think about the scenario, and it's all on me calculating what capacity a crane can hold and what equipment is needed to move a 200-ton piece and how much money is going to cost, right? That's my job, right? So yes, it's quite nerve-wracking. So it can actually trigger this fear of failure. So what option do you have? Many people are faced with situations like this every single day. And what they do is they are trying to avoid it, when in fact you combat fear of failure every single time, regardless what situation it is, by leaning in. So the questions I immediately ask: what do I need to know? Who can check my work? Right? How can I get an accountability partner? How can I figure it out and make sure and double check and triple check that that is correct, but I need to lean in. I need to speed up. I need to have more action than less. That's how I'm going to get through this, right? What was the bull and the cow situation with the storm? That's another good one. Okay, so the bull, there's this big rain cloud, and it's about to rain. And what the cow does is the cow moves away from the cloud, and so the cloud just keeps coming towards, and like it's like procrastinating, but the storm is going to come. The bull, on the other hand, the rain cloud is up here. The bull, it goes like and runs straight through into the storm and basically comes out on the other side much faster than the cow who's like running away from it. That's the same example as to why you need to lean in. If you have fear, you need to lean in because you're going to get through it, right? You're going to get through it faster. That's how you get through it. Okay. Perfectionism could slow things down quite a bit. And many of us have all these triggers and like parts of them. Perfectionism is a desire for making everything right. Well, I talk about this often. What I think is right, you don't think is right. What is my priorities of basically health and wellness, business, and kids may not be the right thing for you. It may be different for you. Okay. Whatever it is for you, that's what your perfectionism is. When you're dealing with perfectionism, you need to really break down and take the time to analyze your belief system, analyze your paradigm. What tasks do you feel you need to be perfect at? Why? Who told you so? How do you know that's true? Right? Be curious. Curiosity is what takes care of that. You have to be curious about all the things that you feel you need to be perfect at, because there is no such thing as perfect. I think I see my vision totally different than you do. Okay. Everyone has a different reality because the way how we live our lives, I mean, even who knows that you see pink the same way as I see pink? No one knows. You mean your shade of pink may be totally different than my shade of pink. Okay? We don't know. We'll never know. We are all humans that are shaped by individual experiences. Okay? Our brain, none of our brains, this is why we're all unique. None of our brains are the same. Yet somehow we are trying to put this shield over us and say we need to be perfect to start. Why? I mean, who knows? Like, it's just not the same. How are we comparing? We're measuring it on what? What are we measuring perfection on? Only on what someone else in our close environment thought. Usually perfectionism is coming from a perceived, like my kids, honestly. Okay, I've had this, that's a good conversation. I've had the situation that my kids are trying to be perfect. And I didn't catch on to this all before. And I subconsciously bred perfectionism in my children. So they were like trying to be perfect, trying to be perfect, trying to be perfect, trying to please me, trying to do all the things right, right? But I was teaching them how to do routines, how to do this. And I started catching on to what they were trying to do, because obviously maybe in a coach, I caught their behavior and I analyzed behavior all the time. So I caught what they were trying to do. And I immediately redirected and said, hang on a second. What are you doing here? You're trying to do it perfect for who? And they stopped for a second and they said, what? I'm trying to do it perfect for you. I'm like, I'm not expecting you to do it perfect for me. I just want you to brush your teeth for 2 minutes. I don't care if you do it standing on the toilet, or if you're going to do it like you're standing on a step stool, or if you're going to pick your nose while you're doing it. Like, honestly, like, I mean, that's all up to you to decide. I said, but you need to just brush your teeth for 2 minutes. That's all I'm expecting. Okay. But see, this is how perfectionism breeds. If the parent is not aware that your hurriness or your quest or your like expectation can breed your child to want to please, because those are character traits, right? Kids have character traits. So if you don't catch this in that moment, or your parent didn't catch it, you may have been breeding perfectionism. But you got to realize that it's just based on the belief system that you're having, based on the belief system that you are thinking about. Okay. All right. So next trigger would be overwhelm. Overwhelm is when everything is just too much. How do you combat that? You break it down into pieces. We've talked about this up and down. Complex things. You can't do everything. You can do everything at like one thing at a time. So maybe, okay, we kind of got sidetracked a little bit. I said we have health and wellness, we have business, we have family, we have relationships. You can't do everything at a time, but you cannot just like ignore the kids and like do only health and wellness. How can you combat it? Break it down, right? Take the overwhelm out by saying, here you go. I'm going to do the minimums for this period of time now. I'm not going to even expect more out of myself, because this month I'm busy, kids are busy, this and this. I'm only going to do this. Okay. Perfect. You can feel good about it. That's where you are also getting rid of this poor time management. Poor time management is what triggers procrastination. It's like, it's all in one, like overwhelm, poor time management. And then, like you lack motivation too, because you really don't know if you want to do that or not, because you have a little bit of the fear of failure and you don't really know what to do. And, it's all kind of like come together, and you like just stuck sitting there. But you've got to understand, we have been given, okay, we all faithful women, right? So in here, we have been giving the choice, power of choice. That's what God gave us, power of choice, right? He gives us a book called the Bible that has guidance, but he's given us the choice to read it or not. He's given us the choice to show up for ourselves or not. He's given us the choice to go to church or not, to have friends or not, who like do it. Like, I mean, everything we have a choice. What's taking away the impact of making decisions? Because decision making is when you can't make a decision, that's procrastination. Okay. Clarity, failure, perfectionism, overwhelm, poor time management, distractions, all of that leads to no decision making. Think about it. Who is interested? Who is interested in all of that, keeping us distracted and like not focused in on moving the needle forward towards a life that is like we're supposed to live? Because God clearly says too in the Bible how we are supposed to live. We are supposed to be productive, right? He's talking about the ground, fertile ground, and sowing seeds and having harvests, and like, and whether or not you apply this to business or you apply this to your life, it doesn't matter. You sow a seed in your child's life, you sow a seed in your job, you sow a seed in your health and wellness, you nurture that and let it grow by taking small, little, clear actions. Guess what? That seed is not going to grow when you just like sprinkle the water that way. You have to water right here, right? Otherwise that seed is not going to grow. So who's got interest in keeping us disoriented? think. I mean, if you're not Christian, yeah, you think it's crazy. But to me, I believe it's the devil who's wanting us to be not clear on what we need to do in life. And the pain that we have regret later on, and that we are not like, it doesn't matter if you become a millionaire, if you become this or that, or what, it doesn't matter what your standards are and what your visions are and what your priorities are. As long as you have chosen them, okay, you have made the decision, you're good with it, you feel good about it, guess what? You're going to be happy. You're going to be at the end of your life in your hospice bed, you're looking back and you're thinking, I'm so happy with my life. I've got the people in it that I wanted. I've done the things that I wanted. I can go. I've done my job here. Yeah? I mean, would you agree? But if you don't, right? If you don't take the moment to take your cup of tea and get clear on sit and think, okay, what is my priorities? What am I needing to do? What do I want? And now, yes, the overwhelm can be like, I don't know what I want. Like, I don't know what I want. Okay. And then we're going to have all this anxiety. When you have that, trust me, I've been there too. Why do you think I know this? Takes one to know one. Okay, I'm not better than anyone. It's like literally, I've been there. But this is what we need to do. You need to just take this year. Take this year and figure and say, like Laura said, I want to grow my faith. Great, that's one aspect. What else do you want to do? Right? Think about, where are you at right now? You cannot be a bodybuilder. You still have little kids. It's nonsense to expect to be a bodybuilder. Okay. You can be whatever, able to pick up Legos, jump high when you step on one. Like, I mean, like, like whatever your goal may be, make it in your face. Right. And have your long-term, remember we talked about goals last month, have your long vision divided into like time, so you can feel the progress and you like be okay moving through, like water moving through, adjusting a little bit here and there, filling all the spots, just moving through. Don't stop. Okay. Procrastination is stopping, blockage. That's it. You just stop, you block, nothing flows, no energy, no good moves, no good vibes, nothing. Last but not least, is the lack of accountability is what keeps people stuck in procrastination all the time. And that is the one I wanted to talk to you about. And I got to hurry up because my next training starts in 3 minutes. Okay, so the lack of accountability, that was totally me. I was very lazy and I did not want to admit to it because I did not have anybody who was holding me accountable to the actions that I needed to take until I decided that I would have to become my boss and really need to hold myself accountable. And I'm still working on it every single day. Every single day I measure myself and I talk to myself and I say, why are you not doing it today? And this is where I realized that I was lazy because I don't like to follow rules. I was procrastinating on lack of accountability because I don't like to follow rules. I like to make rules. I'm a type A personality. I like to make rules and I don't like to follow them. Okay. So I had to have a really come to church talk to myself and say, okay, Stephanie, if you want this goal, you might not get away with, you can maybe make your own rules and then you actually have to do them. Okay. So you're going to have to do them. Stop being lazy and actually do them. Become your word. And that's what I've been working on this every single day, step by step by step by step. And I want to tell you that my personal development journey has been going on for 6 years now, and I've come so far. I've done so much healing. I have done so much. but there's still areas that I need to level up. And so it's normal. Everyone always levels up, and every level has a new devil. Okay. So you grow, and this is how it's supposed to be. Every level has a new devil. It's true. Okay. So you just be okay with where you are right now and work on where you are, and then you level up, right? We heal. That's where this comes from. We heal where we are right now and what was in the past. We connect, or we heal what was in the past. We connect with where we are right now. We are in the present moment, and then we level up. And then the same thing repeats. This is walk it free. Okay. We gain clarity. This training applies to me after 6 years of full mentorship and personal development and all the things, just as much as it applies to you and you and you and everyone who just starts new. Because every one of us has a different devil. Okay. All right. I hope this was valuable to you today, and go get to work. We'll see you next week. Bye.